Zara Blue, back at it again for part 2. That was so stupid. I'm so sorry. But I'm back at it again for part 2 of my love bombing video. And so if you haven't already watched that, you can find it on my channel very easily. If I remember, I'll link it in the description below. But yes, this is going to be part 2 of my love bombing video. And so if that interests you, again, watch part 1 first for a more in-depth analysis. But I'm going to go ahead and get started and jump into some ways that maybe we can avoid love bombing and, you know, why it happens and ways that we can kind of navigate it and a little bit more and etc., blah, blah, blah. So I'm just going to jump right into it. So in my last video, I explained that love bombing is an abuse tactic that essentially involves the abuser showering their victim with an abnormal amount of affection as a way to disorient them and as a way to kind of create this facade and this mask so that this person, or the victim rather, can be roped into the abuse and can be roped in by the kindness, and then the abuser will kind of switch things up and start casually demeaning this person, nitpicking them, criticizing them, and then flat out just abusing them. And the person didn't see it coming, and oftentimes they repeat this cycle as a way to trap the victim. So at first they'll start out being very loving, very kind, being overly attentive, and you know it's love bombing because it's like extreme. Like, for example, the examples I gave in the last video were like they want to move in with you after like 2 weeks of knowing you. You know, they say I love you after knowing you for a short period of time. And friends can do this too, so it's not just partners. You know, they may over compliment you, they may like always text and call you, and if you don't respond they get offended. They will do you all these favors, they'll do a bunch of different things, you know, and so that's essentially like things that are like it's performative. So usually when this happens, most healthy people perceive love bombing as creepy, and it is creepy because it's like if you barely know a person, you shouldn't be like, oh my god, I love you so much, you're so beautiful. Like, that's odd if you don't know that person very well, or if you're like over fixating on everything they do, or like you're essentially making yourself into a human doormat to accommodate this person. Also, these people tend to chameleon a lot. So if you're really interested in plants and skincare, if you're interested in plants and skincare, this person may have none of those same interests, but when they meet you, all of a sudden they will suddenly take an interest in those things as a way to kind of trick you into thinking that they are into the same things as you, so that it's a way to draw. Essentially what love bombing is, it's a way that for them to draw themselves closer to you and for you to believe that they're this great, good, well-intentioned person. And so when they start abusing you, you feel stuck. You can't move because you're like, oh, they were so nice to me. And they trap you in this cycle of like kind of like sunk cost fallacy, where you know them as this abuser because they're devaluing you and abusing you, but you remember the good old days when they were treating you all kindly and so sweetly, and you've never been loved like that before, and you keep in the back of your mind thinking that like, no, they're going to return to being that person, and they may temporarily, but only so that they can kind of rope you back into abuse. And so it's this kind of rinse and repeat cycle of loving you only to abuse you, and it's to keep you trapped. It's loving and then withdrawing affection. It's intermittent reinforcement that keeps you stuck in an abusive cycle. And it's love bombing is to trick you, to reel you in. It's like when a fisherman throws his hook out into the water with a big juicy worm on it, the fish bites only to get a hook in its lip and to be drawn in and it can't get away. And that's essentially what love bombing is meant to do. And so now that I've re-explained that, just in case you didn't want to go watch part 1, that's kind of a quick synopsis of essentially what I said. So we typically fall for love bombing because of these fun little things called empty buckets. So when we were denied love or affection or basic human decency or kindness or any amount of things within our childhood or at any point in our lives, oftentimes we get these kind of potholes within us. And these potholes are called empty buckets. And empty buckets are essentially, like I said, they're these potholes in the ways in which we kind of fall short. And so, for example, for me, I've been denied a lot of kindness in my life. And I grew up in a very bad situation, and I was denied a lot of basic kindness and love in my life. And because of that, because of the fact that I was denied this kindness, I oftentimes found myself falling for abusers. And so when somebody would show me kindness, I would be very quick to fall for them and be like, oh my God, not fall for them romantically, but I'd fall for that kindness and think that kindness equated to sincerity, when in reality it does not. Kindness is free, kindness is cheap, talk is cheap, anybody can be kind. If anything, you should be kind. You don't get brownie points for being nice to people. And so somebody could show me a little bit of kindness and I'd be like, oh my God, kindness. I haven't felt that in a long time or ever. And then I'd fall for them, and then they'd slowly start being horrible to me. And I would be like, I don't understand why this is happening. And it's like, well, no, you fell for their fake kindness routine. They were being really, really kind so that when they started devaluing you, you were disoriented. And that happened to me so much, where I'd meet these people and they'd be really nice at first, only to switch up on me. And it was because of that empty bucket that I had. I was quick to fall for a kind person. So another way to explain empty buckets are like kind of like are quick to falls. So anything that would make you quickly fall for a person. So maybe, you were like the example I used on my last video, my friend has a learning disability, and she was oftentimes bullied and harassed for this disability and was met with a lot of discrimination and ableism. And so she met somebody who had that same disability. And immediately she fell for him because it was like, oh my God, like he knows what it's like. And he did research on this disability as a way to rope her in. He didn't actually have it. He was lying to her, which is so messed up because it's like people's disabilities aren't like a costume you get to wear when you want to like have them in your life and rope them in. Like that is such a gross and shitty thing to do. That makes my blood boil, that, disabilities are serious. You don't do that. But anyways, she was a person with a disability, and this person, her abuser, essentially pretended to have the same disability as a way to rope her in. And because she had been bullied for her disability and made to feel like she was less for it, she was very quick to fall for somebody. So empathy and compassion was a empty bucket for her. And so empty buckets can look a wide variety of ways. It could be that maybe like you were denied a lot of physical touch. Maybe you didn't feel real when you were younger because nobody gave you like positive touch and affirming touch. And so maybe if you meet somebody who's very, very physically like touchy, that's like a empty bucket for you. But then you might meet somebody who's really appropriately touchy at first, but then becomes inappropriately touchy. Like these are how empty buckets can turn into us falling into other people's traps. And a lot of these manipulative and narcissistic and these people who perform love bombing will feel out our vulnerabilities and then chameleon and conform themselves to our vulnerabilities. So they'll figure out our empty buckets and then kind of fill the gaps and kind of fill those buckets in these performative fake ways. And so like for me, my abusers typically sensed that I hadn't been shown a lot of kindness. And so they'd very quickly, try to be way too kind to me. And immediately I'd be like, what? The guy could sense it was wrong and kind of fake and it wasn't sincere, but my empty buckets were just so longing for that niceness that it didn't matter whether it was real or fake or whether it was sincere or not. I just wanted it, so I fell for it. And I got like tackled and dragged away into the bushes essentially by these people. And so it's important to avoid people like this, and to ways you can avoid people like this is listening to yourself, getting in touch with your intuition. I did a video on honoring your feelings, and the thumbnail is like, it says like psychic, and it's like a Greek statue with like emojis inside of it. So if you want to find that video, it's on my channel. I don't have too many videos, so it's not hard to find. But you have to get into with your intuition. Your gut will never ever lie to you. So pay attention to what your body tells you. If you think it's too good to be true, it is. Don't get caught up in sunk cost fallacies. That whole idea that, hey, I'm going to miss out on a really good guy or gal. I'm going to, miss out on this great person. No, you're not. If you get a bad feeling about somebody, even if that person was nice to you or affirming to you at one point in your relationship or in your friendship, if a person is giving you bad vibes, no matter how nice they're being, walk away. Because don't get caught up in that whole I'm gonna miss out, or maybe they're a nice person. Do not get caught up in that, because you will just be trapped for eons. It'll get you tackled and dragged off into the bushes, so don't do it. So pay attention to your intuition, pay attention to your empty buckets. Those are some of the two biggest ones you can even do. And also, don't take people for face value. Like I said, kindness is cheap, kindness is free. When you meet people, you're not meeting them, you're meeting their representative. People, even us healthy people, put on masks when we first meet people. I'm a lot more I'm a more reserved version of myself and a more kind of like mellowed out version of myself when people first meet me, you know. And it's not always negative. Like we all have our face that we put on for people who we don't know or who we aren't acquainted with. You don't treat Richard the stranger the same way you treat like Kelly, your best friend, or something, you know. And so, but with manipulative people, it's more extreme. So when you're meeting them, you're not meeting them, you're meeting their representative. You cannot take manipulative people at face value. And when you first meet them, you will think that they're these normal, everyday people. You will think that they are like just normal, healthy people, which most people aren't healthy, so I shouldn't say that, but they're not. And so don't take anybody at face value because you don't know who you're dealing with. So when you meet people, you see that they're kind. I'm not saying mistreat them or like be like, I'm on to you, Smith. Like, don't do that. Just be aware and be more reserved. Kind of understand that, hey, a lot of these people are looking for somebody to exploit. Just be more observant while interacting with people. Kind of watch them and watch how they interact with others. Watch how they interact with people who are similar to you, and just kind of feel them out before you get close. And get close slowly. Slowness and, you know, being paced in a slow manner is very important for avoiding these types of people. And yeah, that's gonna wrap up this video. I hope you all enjoyed. I think I have kind of successfully started creating shorter videos, so that's nice. So if you like the longer ones, let me know, but I'm gonna try and switch it up, do some long, do some short. I kind of like having videos that people can kind of listen to in the background as they get ready, as they do their makeup, as they're cleaning. I kind of like, you know, when I'm at work and I'm sitting at my desk, I'm like, ugh, and I kind of like to listen to things and have things in the background. So let me know how you like these videos. I really would like some feedback. Thank you so much for watching. Like and subscribe. Yeah, thank you to my 5 subscribers. I have said that in every video. Oh my god. Thank you to my 5 subscribers. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and peace out. All right, signing out. Bye.